We just moved from one apartment to the other, which meant that there was a lot of tax on my lower back. So I decided that early the next morning I wanted to do some mobility work. I started really easy because I just woke up. I was still kind of tired in my body. I decided to stretch out a little bit on my legs. I can kind of feel this in my back. I didn't have any planned schedule I wanted to follow. I just did whatever I felt like I wanted to do. So I don't actually know the names for half of these exercises that I'm going to be doing. I think these might be called windmills. I actually have no idea, but you can definitely tell that they stretch out the back. When you go out the top, you want to try to push your shoulder blades together. I don't have much to say here. I guess you can just watch me do it. Like my dog is doing right there, the little fucking adorable little guy. So here I'm gonna be doing something that looked really fucking gay, especially if you speed it up. But it's actually a really useful exercise that I learned going to kickboxing that we sometimes do. I think it's called flexing and extending the spine. When looking downwards, you want to be, I think it was inhaling, and when you look up, you want to exhale, or maybe vice versa, whatever feels better. You really, when you look downwards, you want to really look down towards your chest, and when looking up, just towards the sky, really stretch out the spine. And here's another thing from yoga. I think it's called cobra pose. Then a downward dog-esque looking thing, just without your feet planted. Then another exercise that I learned from kickboxing that we sometimes do. I fucking love listening to the cracks of my back sometimes. Because you really, like, you twist the spine. I don't know what does it. I think it's gas that's trapped in between the each joint of the spine that gets released, and you really like open up there. It's so fucking fun to do. Later on, I decided to stretch out my legs because why not? I mean, the legs and the back are very connected. The back is connected to everywhere in the body, but especially the posterior chain with things like deadlifts, when lifting boxes and stuff like that. Your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back are very connected, and so you might want to train them together the same way you might train your triceps together with your chest. And so after being warmed up a bit, I could go on to more intense back mobility exercises like bridges. I wouldn't have been able to do that immediately because, I wasn't really warmed up. I just woken up. And so I was able to do this. Bridges are fucking amazing for back mobility. And so since I had some chill time in the early morning, I decided to do ass to grass split squats. I haven't fully been able to get to a point where I do it on the ground. Ben Patrick says that you should, progress at whatever level you're at. Get your ankle mobility up, get your knee strength up by going at the level that is suitable for you. And so 2 plates feels very suitable for me. And I'm really trying to focus here on getting my lower thigh to touch my calf as much as possible, so I really get that stretch in the calf, to really put my knee over my toe. You can see it's kind of hard for me to hold balance, but we try, and we'll get better with time. So I switch leg here. I do 10 on each side. I do it slowly to just control the movement, really feel what's happening there. My right side, I can actually get my knee a lot further over my toes. I don't know if that's just my ankle mobility or just where my feet were placed, but it's an interesting thing to note. I don't really have much else to say here. I mean, the ATG split squat is a great movement for knee longevity. I'll link knee over toes guy's channel in the description so you can check him out. That's how I got this exercise. Now I'm gonna move on to some Jefferson's curls, I think they're called. Now I wanted to start off with no weight just to kind of practice the movement. The idea here is to kind of roll up your spine, roll your shoulders, kind of bend your spine. Usually not what you would do in a deadlift, so it's a bit of a riskier movement. You want to use way less weight, which is why I'm using no weight at the beginning, just to test the movement. You want to crumple your spine as much as possible to really use all of the muscles there. I try to advance it to a 7.5 kilo weight here, and I kind of realize that even though I can do it, it's like slightly above what would be like my most optimal weight at this point. I do it a few times and I'm already sore, which is not really what I was looking for. And so I eventually do switch to a 2.5 kilo plate. Yeah, see, I switched here to a 2.5 kilo plate. I'm really looking for that full bend, so that I can train the areas in which I'm weak. See, because for longevity, especially with the weak areas like the spine, it's not about how much weight you can lift in one rep. It's a lot about repeated reps and what positions are you weak, your mobility, or I mean, if someone suddenly threw a ball at you and you try, like a heavy medicine ball, and you try to grab it, will your back give out because you're not used to bracing, right? It's a lot of stuff like that. It's not as much about one rep maxes as gym bro culture might want you to believe. And I decided to end this session with a few deadlifts, right as I'm talking about deadlifts, but these are light ones. There's 10 kilos on each side, and the bar is roughly 7 kilos. It's one of the lighter bars. It's like 20 like most. I just go for as many reps as I felt like, for as clean as a form as I could, because I had already gotten warmed up by that point, and I felt like doing something more intense, you know? Thanks for watching.